Hello everybody. It has been a while. Between technical problems, fatigue problems, and lots of work. Speaking of which, I'll be finishing early tonight because I've got an early start tomorrow. But I'm here. I at least get to visit Kazumbi, which is the important thing. I need that sweet, refreshing taste of freedom. If it ever connects, anyway. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. I've missed doing this. Life hasn't been conducive. So I'm hoping maybe I can finally finish the new smiths today. Because I promised Nair that I'd help with the tunnels, so I need to get on that soon. But... oop. Just fell for all eternity, okay. It's dark out. So yeah, I need to go and help Nair with the tunnels, but I think he'd probably appreciate it if I finally finished this Get Us Shovels quest. And, you know, got him a diamond shovel before I head down there. Why is my inventory all over the place? Plus, you know, I can then take him a shovel and... he can use that for digging. It'll make life easier. Yeah, I think I was planning on putting... oh, I thought I was going to be putting on breaking on this new shovel to make sure... is it the bow that needs... what have I got that needs... oh, the pickaxe doesn't have unbreaking on it. Oh, the shield. It's probably the shield that I was planning to make unbreaking, but I don't think I had enough mana. Mana? XP? They're both the same thing, functionally. I don't know why I brought it with me though, it's not going to be a thing that I need. Okay, so I started out in Eastmark instead of Kazumbi, which already surprised me. Is the stuff that I need here? I remember I got interrupted halfway through setting things up. And I stashed all of my building gear somewhere quickly so I could run to Norellan's aid. I don't remember where I stashed it. So let's have a look around. I mean, I think the bottom floor is supposed to be the toolsmith, so I don't think it would be up here. No. It's just the roof space. Oop. I bet there's gotta be a chest like just outside of here though, right? Probably? No, I end up putting a chest next to a building site. No? Have I been running to that one in the square this whole time? It's not very efficient. What's even less efficient is that it is certainly looking... wow! Like I left the things that I need over at Kazumbi. I've got oak planks and signs and paintings, but none of that's much good if I don't have the actual smithy tables. So okay, then back to Kazumbi, I guess. Wow. Should really extend this fence to include the train station. I got a lot of little projects that I need to work on around here, really. Okay. Let's head over to Cows and Beans to figure out where I stashed my stuff. Oop. Look at that. Let's hop on at platform 2. I can get off at the village station. I hardly ever use the village station. I almost always go to the main station. I don't know why. Probably habit from the days when you couldn't find the village station half the time. It's a little bit clearer now. Okay, so... should I just... chucked all these things hastily in somewhere. Where did they end up? Did I put them under tools? Where are tools these days? It's an alarming amount of dynamite. Ah, here we go. 16 smithing tables, that should be plenty. I don't really know how many I'm going to be able to squeeze in there. Chiselstone bricks make better work tables than, like, planks. I mean, if you're doing smithing work, it's probably dangerous to have wooden tables, right? And these do look quite nice. Maybe I'll grab a couple of those. And, yeah, I bought a whole bunch of lanterns. Will I need anything else? I don't think so. Chairs, maybe? Dialects. Well, maybe they should have standing desks if they're doing smithing work. Probably makes more sense. Yeah, maybe like a little arrow shape, a smithing table and 2 bits of desk, a lantern above each one. Should do the trick, right? I don't know that they would need much else. Maybe torches. I might. Maybe a few personal decorations. Let me grab some bricks. We'll make some vases and put some flowers out. What are they called? Pots? Yeah. A few of these. And I guess I could get some flowers there, but let's have a look what we've got in. Of course, for legal purposes, we won't be able to use cornflowers there. Actually, is it cornflowers I used for the masons? It's a blue flower, but I feel like it was a different blue flower. Well, nonetheless, it'd be very rude for another company to start using a Masonic symbol like right across the road. So, poppy, tulip, pink tulip? What's the different colors of tulips? Allium? I'm already bracing myself to find out that like half of these are too big to go into a flower pot. You know. Whatever. Okay. So I'll head back and get these laid down. There we go. Don't know why I jumped down there instead of over here. My brain is full of mosquitoes today, that's all I really have to say on it. I expect a lot of this. The buzzing. Nope! Get back here. Get back here! No! East Market is platform 4. Off we go. Dang, dark again? Today went by fast. Free arrows. Also free XP actually, which is arguably more useful because I got things to enchant. Wonder if anything else burned up and left some nice XP. Whoop. There's zombies over there. Come and get me. No, no, no! did I not see him? I need my eyes checking. I genuinely do need my eyes checking. I've been trying to get an appointment for a while. Well, I hit 4 levels. That's probably enough to do that enchantment next time I go back into town. I still didn't remember to drop off that book while I was there. Well, I probably won't need the inventory space for this bit. I've already kind of got everything that I need in my inventory. Don't need to pick up much else. Where am I going? I've run right past it. Okay, well. So, what if we look at something like this? Are these too crowded? Or do they look okay? Oh, hello sir. This is a, have you finally come to your senses and decided to get a job? That's not how I meant to put those down. Put the minecart with me. Because my brain is just straight up not working today. Okay. You do what? 3 rows of these? When you got some space to walk between them, that kind of works, right? Somebody's brewing something. Is that the church just over there? I think it must be. Only ended up with 1 spare, okay. That worked out pretty well. Now look at this. Fits so many people. Let's put in these lanterns. And Novellen is joining us.
Hola.
Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. I think the ground floor of the smithies is now open for business.
Welcome home,
Paradise.
such as it is. This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them.
There's not everything set up exactly how I wanted it. Let's go. There we go.
Well, and thank you so much for 34 months.
Ah, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem.
Well, so I think the last time you subscribed was my last stream because that was so long ago.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have said
So,
anything, but yeah, it was. Yeah.
yeah, it's been a while.
Happy Friday, Endarian. Happy Friday to you too. Hope you're doing well today. Hope you're having a good Friday. Hope it's treated you well.
Happy
Yes, talk to us.
Friday. Where are you at?
I am at Tonsfield,
Oh.
for the tunnel is complete. I mean, complete in the sense that I've broken through to Tonsfield.
Yeah.
Not remotely ready for use, but you know, you get it.
First stage is complete.
Yes. It took me like 6 hours. It was like 3 streams, I think, of me just digging that tunnel.
I watched the VODs for most of them. I haven't seen the most recent yet. It's been a busy week.
There's kind of a spoiler for me to reveal that I'm in Tonsfield, having tunneled through.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching my VODs, though. That's very kind.
Yeah, of course.
Walking around the Tonsfield area for a bit before I go back to those tunnels. I've spent
Yeah.
so much time in.
Put these down for now.
Then I will return to Kazanby.
Oh yeah. I guess technically I should say that it's only the first stage that's complete here. I mean, obviously there's the other floors, which we're not in as much of a hurry about, but I think I'm probably going to have to provide some new housing and some food for the villagers to get them to actually come in here and start getting jobs.
Sure.
And then, of course, I've got to level them up. But in theory, we should be able to get some shovels here.
Nice. Are you in East Market?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. That is a big old hill. Never been here before. Wow, that's quite majestic. Look at that. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Also, this is a big change for like 3 streams of tunneling. Which, you know, oh, whoa, that's what is it? Vertiginous. God damn.
Exciting changes. You're on the surface.
Yeah. That's it. Endarian very kindly put up with me streaming weeks of just digging a tunnel. Been here every week. I've been doing it. Just digging constantly in these darkened tunnels.
Yeah.
But now we're above ground.
So have you got a good site for the station?
Yes, I have. Yeah. The exit point of the tunnel is a little bit further back than I wanted, but I'm just going to put another tunnel in just under the surface, and leave that. So where the station is underground will be slightly different to where it is above ground.
Okay.
I found the perfect spot for it above ground. And I want to connect it via a short tunnel to the underground bit. Ah, it's beautiful. Lovely. Ah.
Oh, hey, Lady Meow. Are you going on the train? Well, I mean, yeah, eventually. The rails haven't been put in yet, so a little bit of a way off. But yeah,
Also, the tunnel isn't big enough for the the train yet.
Yeah. Yeah, we in advance. They're sighting the station now, and at some point I'm going to come through and widen the tunnel, and then I can put down the rails.
What's this beautiful? So yeah, I've got a lovely spot just north of Tunsfield. That'd be perfect for the station. I'm gonna do one akin to the one at Stars on Sea.
Okay.
Because this is gonna be the central point of our southern expansion. Right?
Yeah.
So I thought it deserves more than just what I think of as the country stations.
Yeah, it's gonna be the southern hub town.
So it merits a... What is that? Oh, guess what I've found?
Let me guess, another portal?
Another portal. just west off the map that Tunsfield's on.
Those things were exciting at one point, and now we've got more of them than we know what to do with.
Yeah. Like, do you remember the first time we found a nether portal in the wild?
Yeah.
All the excitement, all the... Look at this. What is this? And all that.
Yeah.
Who built this and why? And I just thought, oh, yeah, it's like the 8th nether portal we found today.
Could do with less nether portals, to be honest.
Ow, ow, pig, ow.
Vending machines. That's what we need to build next, somehow.
People have done similar, haven't they? Like,
I mean, there's dispensers.
Yeah, we use dispensers to do something akin to.
Yeah. Could maybe try and figure that out.
That's some redstone science.
Yeah. I think they've been busy for a while in Minecraft. I haven't had time to actually sit down and use that redstone research room that I built.
We've been jaunting about a lot, haven't we?
Yeah.
And you've been turning East Market into a company town.
Yeah. Big expansions, big expansions. Yeah, how are you doing, Lady Mia? It's good to hear from you.
Oh, that's nice. You can turn that into a plunge pool. There's just like a shaft cut deep into the ground, and at the bottom of it, filling the exact width of the shaft, was a pool of water. So you could have dived into that and been fine.
Okay, that's cool.
You could have if we were building a spa town, yeah, you could have a plunge pool there.
Yeah. So it's plains, but it's very hilly. So I appreciate that. Yeah. The cow in the tall grass, it is. Hiding. Let me head back a little bit to Tunsfield then. Or in that direction. I've looped round and explored the surrounds. Yeah.
So we can't promise vending machines yet, but there will definitely be multiple platforms at Tunsfield. Such is my plan. Oh, it's raining.
Whoop.
I don't know if it's raining where you are.
It is, yeah. Pouring down.
Yeah, I hope we don't get another storm.
Yeah. Putting up fences in the rain. Bridges over railways.
Oh, that is a hallmark into your multi-level things. Your
Yeah.
footbridges. I probably could do that. Yeah. I have thought about it before.
Yeah, and a WH Smith. That's also an important sign. That's how you show that your trains go a long way. You know that people need to buy books before they go on them.
Isn't it somewhat ludicrous like that's how W.H. Smith actually got started? They like sold newspapers in stations, and that's kind of what made their business.
It wouldn't surprise me. It makes a lot of sense.
Like they were just like a relatively small kind of deal, and then got a contract for some railway company and just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Lady Meows like spelt it out. Actually, multiple platforms, footbridge connecting them, vending machines, and a W.H. Smith's.
Yes. That's how a station knows that it's made it.
What if it's got an underpass instead of a subway instead of a bridge? Is that the same? A donkey.
I think it's technically the same, but you know that the stations with bridges look down on the ones with underpasses.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, our local station's got an underpass.
Yeah.
They're just always that bit manky, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where all the water comes from that gathers there, but it does. I assume it's actually that it runs down the steps when it's raining, because one of them... No, they're both inside. Well, kinda. One of them's inside entrance. The other one's under the platform awning. And
Yeah.
so
it's covered, but it's not...
Yeah, so it probably blows in when it's raining.
Yeah.
It always is, because it's the UK.
Yeah, and then there's not really anything to clear it out once it's in.
Yeah, it just gathers down there. Just washes all the muck down as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna load up with a lot of stuff, and then I will head back. Do you know the librarian in Tunsfield sells Archer's Keenness 3?
Oh.
That feels like
That would be...
big deal.
Yeah, that would be good to have, I have to say.
That's what I was thinking too. Also, did we ever establish what metrical charm is?
Metrical charm?
Yeah, in my language.
I feel like this is the first I've heard of that.
Huh. Well, there's metrical charm.
All I can tell you is that it's better than Imperial charm.
You know, we're only thinking about metric and imperial earlier. Conversation we've had in the past.
Yeah.
I'll tell you for what. I read a thing. It was a comment on a YouTube video. I think it was. Or a comment on a meme post. The kind of deal.
Yeah.
And it was on about how the definition of horsepower is. And how it was how much. How it was. Let me get this right. It was how. It was the one unit was a horse hauling a certain weight up a 230-foot shaft. In a day. Which sounds like the most arbitrary and ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah.
But because it was developed by Watt to sell these steam engines. And what were those early steam engines designed to do?
Yeah, exactly that.
And if you want to replace horses in the same job, you advertise your machine relative to what those horses could do. So you go, what you would need 10 horses to do, this one machine will do. Plus it never needs feeding, etc, etc.
Yeah.
Doesn't get ill. It doesn't bite you. Let the water fall below the level of the crown sheath and it'll kill you all, but still. It's that kind of thing. So, and someone said in the comments, I think it was comments. Yeah, it was comments on a YouTube video. And I thought this was interesting. that like Imperial itself sounds completely random like that, like horsepower is.
Yeah.
But they're all designed for the various measures come from those kind of things. That they're all things that people could use, as it were. And I was like, yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
It sounds bonkers, but it's designed for don't have scientific instruments but need to make some kind of measurement. Like a yard being roughly the length of your stride. Or originally designed at the length of a stride, etc.
Yeah.
Whereas like a meter, you know, I know that's probably similar to a yard, it's not the best example, but like people wouldn't have a gut feeling for a meter. But they'd have a gut feeling for a yard because you go, oh yeah, it's similar to your stride length.
Yeah.
Like a foot being your forearm or whatever. Like you're not going to take measure, and no standardized weights and measures at all, basically. That is kind of a thing that you could tell somebody when you were working on something. I want it about 6 foot long. I'm like, yeah, sure, I know, 6 times the length of my own arm.
Yeah.
It's kind of a vibe. And it just got standardized later, because, you know, it's rare that you invent a new system from scratch.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite interesting.
Lumus
yeah,
of fail says ZZZ.
I think it's actual night now, but it's hard to tell.
It's letting us sleep, so that's something.
Yeah. Unless you do that when it's raining anyway, though, right?
Only in storms, rather than
Yeah.
conventional rain, I think.
I know it says, you know, sunset,
Yeah,
or storm,
storm.
but I don't know if it actually enforces that.
Okay, so it could be rain. I'm not sure. I just took it to do it. Yeah, I thought it was just an interesting observation about the origins of Imperial. And like, when you
Yeah.
think about it that way, it makes perfect sense. I mean, not Imperial measurements make perfect sense because they don't. But
Yeah.
that's how they come about. I was like, yeah, because like a kilometre is pretty arbitrary, isn't it? Or a kilogram, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas a league is how far,
It's-
you know, how long you can walk in, and how far you can walk in an hour. Rather
Yeah.
than the distance light travels in 0.0 seconds, or however a meter is defined formally. Yes, I know that replaces the original platinum iridium meter.
Yeah.
But have they actually replaced Le Grand Car? Because they were on about how they'd finally found something to replace it.
To replace what, sorry?
Le Grand Car. The big K. Not Clandathu off of Starship Troopers. Troopers here are calling it the big K. But the type example of the kilogram, because for a long time they couldn't find anything to replace it. Like a meter was defined as that, you know, how far light travelled in, or a certain wavelength of light travelled in a certain time, and stuff like that. But for a long time they couldn't find anything to replace the kilogram. They had nothing to be that accurate, I guess.
Yeah. I remember that they wanted to because it decays.
Yeah, even though it's platinum iridium alloy under like 8 bell jars.
Yeah.
It's cleaned very, very carefully using the very precise materials, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, yes, it was. Was it gaining weight? Was that it?
Was it gaining? Maybe.
I know it was no longer a perfect kilogram.
Yeah. It might have been oxidizing in some way then.
I think perhaps that was it. But yeah, they were on about doing a new one, weren't they? And I don't know if they've actually done it yet.
Yeah.
A scientific method.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest.
Did you know that les Instituts des Poids et Mètres, the Institute of Weights and Measures, which holds the platinum iridium alloys, etc., is technically not in France.
Yeah?
It technically belongs to the world.
Yeah.
It's like international territory. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, nice.
Like international waters, but you know, on land.
Yeah.
And nothing to do with the sea. And everything to do with weights and measures.
Kind of like an embassy, but for everybody.
Yeah.
There's an iron golem on the roof of the Grand Lodge. I don't know how I feel about this.
I feel like it would shortly be coming through the roof of the Grand Lodge if they had the weight of an iron golem IRL.
Yeah.
They made of what? 4 cubic meters of iron.
Yeah.
Like I don't know exactly how heavy that is, but it's gotta be substantial.
Yeah. I don't have many torches.
A few. I've got next to no arrows though. I've used all them fighting in the tunnels.
Yeah, I've got less than I probably should have.
Here's a thing.
Yeah.
Have I taken the wrong turn? Yeah, I've taken the wrong turn. Hold on. There we go. There's one part of the tunnel at the minute where you could take a wrong turn. Like, it's because one of the next steps for me. Obviously, got to widen the tunnels and put the roof higher. But one of the things I need to do as well is put in all the bridges, because at the minute they're all just temporary, just like thin lines across deep caverns, etc.
Yeah.
And certain areas will need like securing off, like fences up and stuff. So that's probably the next thing I need to do in regards to the railways. And it also secures them properly as well. Against all comers. I'm on the train, I'm coming back. Just out from Jack's Ward. This is currently our southern terminus.
Yeah.
But not for long. I mean, probably for a long time, but not forever. But you know, I think maybe you know, if you've been watching The Vod, you'll know that I've started copying Lady Meow by watching through the MCU.
Yeah.
And I watched Thor the Dark Thor today.
Ah.
That's Mr. Sunday Movies, the YouTuber. He always refers to Thor the Dark World as Thor the Dark Thor. Crap, 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 crap. Eyes down. Oh no. There's an Enderman on the line.
Uh-oh.
He's like right on the track. Move! Teleport! Teleport! Alright. It's fine actually. I thought I was going to like splat him. Thankfully, you don't seem to. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, he just always deadpans it as like Thor the Dark Thor.
Yeah.
And never kind of acts as though he's saying something funny. It's like in Thor the Dark Thor, such a thing. Which treats it as perfectly normal, which makes it way funnier than if he did it as like an ostensible joke.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just going to read from your chat a moment. I liked that more this time than I was expecting to. The fight at the end was so fun. I agree, because I liked Thor the Dark Thor anyway. But watching it again, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. And yeah, exactly. The fight at the end is really fun. Thor and Malekith falling through essentially dimensional portals while they're trying to have a fight with each other. And like Thor having to catch the tube back to the battle site. It's just fantastic. And the nice detail of Thor wanging Mjolnir, then getting knocked through one of those portals. And Mjolnir then angling straight up and jetting off into space. He's trying to get to him.
Yeah.
I really like that. The only part I didn't like was Selvig's underpants. Fair. Yeah. Yeah. Also, it's nice to have a Marvel film in the UK, you know?
Hmm.
I mean, it's London, but still. The bloke refusing to run away from the, like, terrifying scene because, are you mad? Thor's out there! He's waving his hammer and everything! Is about as British a reaction as I can imagine.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get out of harm's way. There's a famous guy out there doing a thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed them all actually. I think the Thor 1 is the point where the MCU kind of takes off somewhat.
Yeah.
I think it hits a slightly different stride from thereafter. Like Iron Man 2, and Incredible Hulk are good, but I think probably on some level, Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2 are the weaker ones for me. I still really enjoy them, but I don't know, they just, you know.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think they're in any way bad, but it's not like a real criticism or anything. Just... Also, I'm on a train now, Lady Meow, so wee.
Whee!
Let's go. But yeah. I think I agree, but I also thought Thor 1 was the worst on this watch through so far. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Because I remember thinking that Thor 1 was one of the better Marvel movies.
I really like him. I can see how, certainly when you've watched the later Thor films, it feels a bit less developed. If you get what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it feels like it clashes because we got a new Thor in every Thor movie, and now we're used to the latest Thor.
Yeah. And his character does make sense. Like when you, because I'm watching obviously this like several times I've watched some of these. You can kind of see the arc over the films. That in each one he's kind of reflecting back on what happened in the previous one and being slightly different. But not to say I didn't enjoy it. I feel like Thor doesn't earn his redemption. Yeah, like he makes one redemptive choice, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, yeah, he's learned his lesson now. Like I love the way it's done in the film, and I love the little callback to Odin's spell. You know, that when Thor does offer to sacrifice himself for everybody else, then you hear the, whoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor. And you see Mjolnir just shift out of the crater it's embedded itself in.
Yeah.
So, I think it's well done. But yeah, I agree. It's like one thing. Hold on, I'm on the line. And I don't mean I'm on a phone call, I mean I'm between Vault Zero and Chasm Village.
It's okay. Sun's only just setting.
Oh, cool, I'm not far out either. Because there's not much gap between them two stations anyway either. I think what I did really enjoy in a watch through second. I think it is only the second time I've seen it. As I was saying last week on stream. Captain America, the First Avenger. I think I've only seen it once before. And that was like in 2014. And I've really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done and very enjoyable. I think the growing relationship between Peggy Carter and Captain America is great.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously smitten by her the moment he sees her. And she's just professional, right? Part of the thing they're doing there. And kind of grows to start liking him when she sees his character, I guess. Sees what he's like as a person. That's takes shine to him. And it just develops that, I think it's lovely.
Yeah, despite my later dislike for the character of Captain America, I don't think that one's a bad movie. Although the ending is pretty stupid.
And he pitches the plane into the ice to her because otherwise, they're not. Otherwise, there's nothing to stop it destroying New York.
Yeah. He's only got two choices: drive the plane into the ice, or drive it to New York and drop the bombs.
Hi.
Hi.
Been a while.
Yeah. Take that off.
I've not got inventory space to do that, but I'll do it for a moment.
Yeah, good to see you again.
You too. But yeah, I mean, it kind of, there's a line of dialogue that sort of explains it. Because Peggy Carter immediately goes, "All right, let's work out what we're going to do here." Like Stark will get that plane down safe. Don't even worry about it. And he's like, yeah, but we don't have time before it hits New York.
Yeah, but he's clearly got access to the controls because he's able to crash land it. So just fly it around in circles.
He's not a pilot.
Oh yeah, what if he does it wrong and it crash lands? Yeah, that'd be a disaster.
Could you fly a plane in circles?
Again, it doesn't matter.
Then
There's
why
only
go
two.
wild?
There's only two possibilities. Either he does it right and they've got time to come up with a better idea, or he does it wrong and it crash lands just like it would in his other plan. He's got nothing to lose.
Unless the weapon's discharged, then he loses everything. Is it worth the risk, Lewis? Is it worth the risk? I mean, for us, and be like, hey, New York's like thousands of miles away, don't even worry about it. For him, who's from New York, could you expect him to make that choice, really? Maybe blasting charges.
Where does it crash in my plan? In the ocean!
That's where he pitches it!
My point...
He's over Canada, right? Like, he's heading over Canada within moments. He's gonna be... If he messes it up, he crashes it into, like, where people live. Which is a good point for me to bring up, actually. That when you look at the map, he's about to go eat the Canadian coast. If he circles it for a bit but fluffs it up, he's landing on, like, Halifax.
Well, turn it around and point it the other way. Get somebody on the radio who can explain to him how to fly a plane.
That's what Stark's for.
Yeah. Well, there you go then.
Stark. He's like, there's no time. Because there's no time, Lewis. That's what you're failing to understand here. There was no time. Also, he has to pitch the plane down. That's where the story has to end.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem. We all know the story has to end with him crashing the plane into the Arctic, and they're contorting things to make that happen. It doesn't happen. It doesn't feel like it happens naturally.
I mean, I guess, but it didn't strike me as egregious.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to crash the plane because, I mean, personally, like we say, we know he's got to end up in the ice, right? That's just how it ends. To get him to the present day, the plane needs to go down to the ice. Is he being 100% perfectly logical? Probably not. People rarely are. Like, he's just fought, like, Red Skull, and just foiled, like, several bombs blowing up several US cities. He's in that kind of, like, desperate, we gotta do it right now mode. And he's probably not gonna go, okay, if I manage to successfully turn the plane around, I can just circle over the Atlantic for a while, and then the US government will get access to these super weapons that I'm horrified by.
I mean, they did that anyway, so...
But...
It delayed it, I suppose. Yeah.
Because he's horrified when he discovers them in the Avengers.
Yeah.
So I found the Tesseract, though. While looking for him.
Yeah.
Quite nice. Yeah, I do think, just as an aside, there's sometimes you hear people complain about, I mean, I'm not saying this is necessarily one of them, complain about a certain, like, so-and-so in a film didn't act, like, perfectly logically. It's like, yeah, people don't always.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I just felt like that. As I say, I think it was one of the better Marvel films. That scene is my main criticism with it. But it did feel to me like it wasn't happening because of Captain America. It was happening because they wrote the last scene of the film first.
They need to get into the future.
Yeah.
So he needs to pitch the plane. It's like, whatever happens, he's got to end up frozen in ice.
Yeah.
However it comes about. Because they need him in the present day. And then me again with a good point. When they get them anyway, he hadn't hand delivered them. He'd feel super guilty about that.
I don't know, because I mean, he spends about 5 minutes freaking out about it, but then he goes back to being Shield's pet puppy immediately afterwards, right?
Kinda.
Yeah.
They have to deal with the event of the invasion of New York, so it kind of takes precedence.
Mm.
But he's overtly very, very angry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, he's the only one of them who like, well, apart from Black Widow, I guess, who's... Yeah. Like, he then rejoins Shield and keeps on doing stuff with them in the future, despite like no indication on Shield that they felt they'd done anything wrong by doing all that.
I mean, he does it for a whole film. Well, like an hour in film time.
Yeah.
Because it's his next film where he goes against Shield.
Yeah, but that's...
It's been implied that off-screen he's doing missions for him.
Yeah, like he's doing missions for them at the start of that film, and I got the impression he'd been doing it for a while.
Yeah, there's that even to feel about it.
Yeah.
He does get an explanation or a defense for it from Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Of like when he uses the phrase which I love, that when Thor came from space, we found out that we were not only were we not alone, but we were hilarious. We were utterly and hilariously outmatched. So I can kind of see him sort of begrudgingly accepting that as a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like this, but he's right. And then, of course, aliens from space, like, wreck up New York.
Yeah.
Which he's from. So I can see him being like... But it also kind of fits into his general arc of becoming increasingly kind of disillusioned with what he thinks he knows.
Yeah.
Which is basically his whole character arc. Like, he's the guy who tried to do everything to like fight for the US in the Second World War because he felt it was right, and then he increasingly has to find out that maybe things aren't so clear cut.
Yeah.
Similar to Captain Marvel.
Wait.
That's a side point.
Pardon?
Similar arc to Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
But
I never saw that one.
very, very good. A lot of people complained about it for reasons that were very often under the guise of woman superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah. When there's a bit where someone asked her, Brie Larson, in an interview, whether they'd added a certain line in due to criticisms of the film's poster, and she's like, "No, that's just what being a woman is." Hello, Shepard. Why are you all the way over here, by the bamboo? It's very far away. I mean, you're free to, of course. This is your town too. This feels like a very far point to go to. Anyway, I'll bid you good day.
And I think about it, I'm gonna get a few more things while I'm here.
Lady Meow opines. I love that word. I feel like Fury's explanation the world needs protecting spoke to his soldier side, and that's why he stayed with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I think
And especially when you see the kind of stuff he does in Captain America and other films, he's all about like protecting people. He's got to protect others. Like, I think even somebody even flags up about the fact that his main weapon is a shield in one of the films. And what that kind of says about him as a person.
Yeah. I suppose, to be fair, I do remember, like, when he first revealed that he could move Mjolnir the tiny bit but couldn't handle it properly, there was a few people complaining that in the comic books Captain America could use Mjolnir. And the general response was, yeah, but this Captain America's kind of a warmonger who loves fighting, and he's not like that in the comic books, so it makes sense that he's not as worthy.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's kind of what he knows, and he throws himself into it,
Yeah.
and kind of has to come to terms with that. That's maybe not the way to be.
Mhm.
Well, that's part of his arc, at least.
Yeah.
You know, I will take on. Let's go with him for now. At least he's not as bad as the Mark Miller Captain America.
Yeah. Ugh.
That's just horrible, isn't
Yeah. I mean, the Mark Miller anything.
it? Yeah. Fair. I've heard it argued that the Mark Miller stuff has actually been to the detriment of society in general.
Yeah.
But large part because it encourages a kind of acceptance of those kind of attitudes in public life.
Yeah, I can see that. Oops.
That if you have people's heroes being quasi-fascists,
Yeah.
that's not ideal.
Mhm.
Excellent. What have you got for me? Excellent. Sold all the melons in one go. Good, good. Ah, my arm is all repaired too. Sweet.
Nice.
Who will buy beetroots from me? Not you. Will you? No. Wait, what was that? You selling apples? Have we seen someone selling apples before?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think we had either. There's a bronze villager selling apples. Aha. Ah, not enough. Thinking of your Captain America Mjolnir point, I'd say that any change from the comics gets people up in arms.
Yeah.
Why can't Captain America pick up Mjolnir? No. Okay.
Hmm.
Let's catch those last 2 people. You know, to each their own. De gustibus
Yeah.
non disputandum. Of course.
Of course.
There we go. I've been keeping an eye out for a couple of things, by the way, that you're opined. Let's say opined. To see what I thought on a current viewing. For example, when we had that discussion the other week. Well, I mean, other week, last time we streamed. About does General Ross encourage Emil Blonsky to have more radiation
Yeah.
in Incredible Hulk, despite Blonsky acting Ned
Mm-hmm.
and doing the very things that General Ross was worried about?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, he is keen to have more himself, Blonsky. But yeah, General Ross seems quite happy. And then we just see him walking towards the machine with General Ross saying, "Let's level the playing field, shall we?" Or whatever his exact words are. It's General Ross. He's a relatively forgettable character.
Yeah.
He's there to be a military guy.
Yeah.
Like he's perhaps more interested in Secretary Ross. But yeah, so he does go for it. Even though, like you say, he said, "Don't be daft, and I'll let you have radiation powers." Then Blonsky is daft. He still lets him have more radiation powers.
Yeah.
But that's fair.
So
I think the film does a good job of showing how obsessed Ross has become, though. So
yeah.
kind of go, yeah, he's making bad choices, like worse choices than he was already making, and they were already terrible.
Yeah. It feels like the solution was less radiation, not more. And also maybe on more people now that you've got a successful trial run. Like a squad of those guys could probably win.
Yeah. I think the film does a good. Like I said, I think it does a good job of showing how flawed his thought processes have become.
Yeah.
Ross. Because it's basically when his daughter nearly gets killed by his own actions that he kind of goes, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't be sending soldiers after a man who turns into a radioactive super monster in the middle of a heavily populated area.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't the best choice. I'm gonna go and get drunk now.
So enjoy your cooking, Lady Meow, and let us know what you're making. Yeah. It's been a really long time since I've seen these films, so I can generally report on the vibes I got from them, but not on what gave me those vibes.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, I mean, you're right. He does make a bad choice, but General Ross in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been nice. I don't know if this is I mean, I don't know how people who are seconded to the US Armed Forces dress. But it would have been nice if Blonsky was wearing his Royal Marines uniform. Putting it out there.
Yeah.
I think he's from Royal Marines, right? Is it the Marine? I feel like it's the Marines.
I don't remember.
I immediately forgot the minute it came out of General Ross's mouth. He's a British guy. He's there to be British for someone.
Yeah.
I think he's more, but yeah, he just wears US Army uniform throughout the film. I'm like, maybe he probably does because he's seconded to him, but nice if he was wearing the Marine one, wouldn't it? I mean, it'd look very similar, but it wouldn't have like US on it.
My gut instinct is that he'd wear the regular one for day-to-day jobs and the Royal Marines one for, you know, like their dress uniform.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like if he was wearing camo, it'd be the US pattern.
Yeah.
Like when they're out on a mission or whatever. But if he was doing something formal, back to his blues, it makes sense. It would have been nice to see. Also, one of my favourite parts of Captain America: The First Avenger is that Stan Lee's cameo. He's like he's like a 4-star general and absolutely bedecked with medals. It's great. I thought he'd be taller. As he says of the man he mistakes for Captain America.
Yeah.
Just absolutely covered in medals. I like all these little cameos.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all do. An uncontroversial point, Joe. Hey, we got a new family.
Yeah. I hope that's a good thing.
Yeah. Maybe someone had a kid and we just never saw.
Yeah.
We got a couple of new families.
Yeah, I think we've seen a few new kids recently, actually. So it's probably just one of those.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Anyone else buying carrots, please?
Okay.
Yes, good.
These away for now.
I have many carrots, please buy. Anybody else? It's so loud here. Oh, sold up. It's 77 or something emeralds I've managed to raise from all this nonsense.
Yeah.
And fully repaired all my gear, which is nice. Good old Merlin's repair.
Yeah.
I've not got time to do that. Although I know you don't keep abreast of such things anymore. But did you know, which you may or may not, that they're releasing a new Eldar avatar?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a new model for the avatar of Caleb Menchikane.
Ah, okay. I thought you meant they're releasing an avatar of another god, and I was going to be like, I need to hear the lore behind this because they're all dead.
Kinda, there already kinda is one. There's the Incarnate,
Oh.
who's kind of like the avatar of Inaed,
Yeah.
the god who doesn't yet exist.
Hmm.
They're a faction now, the Inari.
Okay.
Neuralon
The
says
people who are trying.
ZZZ.
You know, do you remember there's been mention in lore for a long time? People trying to bring about the birth of Inaed.
Hmm.
They're technically a faction now. I mean, they're not really. They're just like random Eldar who do that thing instead of, you know, Craftworld stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got like 3 models, and one of them is the Incarnate.
Hmm.
Who are, I think, is basically kind of their avatar. Also, I don't think Isha's dead, by the way.
Is she not?
She's imprisoned in Nurgle's garden.
Huh.
Forever,
Okay.
I believe is the general plan. Actually,
Guess I'd forgotten about that.
it's not something that comes up very often.
Yeah.
It's horrible when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because Nurgle likes her.
Hmm. I mean, he is a friendly sort.
He is, that's true. Nurgle likes everyone.
Yeah. Everybody's equal in Nurgle's eyes.
Exactly. Good guy Nurgle, kinda, not quite. Yeah, 28-year-old model. Finally getting replaced.
Yeah.
They're doing it though. It's funny the material GW's put out about the new model, because they're pitching it as the Avatar's retirement.
Yeah.
Like after 28 years, he's finally retiring. But they did like one of the like preview videos has like violin music and somebody talking about it with like a family photo album.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like the early like White Dwarf photos when the model was first released.
Yeah.
Just like them, and then photos of the Avatar squaring up to various enemies, using the model of the time and more current ones, and showing it getting like, repeatedly outclassed by newer models.
Yeah.
Like the Keeper of Secrets, you know, the Slaanesh Greater Demon. Then the modern one that's way bigger. Some of the even Manius Calgar, the Ultramarines, because his model's got bigger.
Yeah.
Or better scale, you know, that kind of stuff. Hey, Lewis.
Hey.
Squaring
Ooh,
up a hole.
Yeah, I'm clearing out some land. Do you happen to have your flint and steel on you?
I don't,
assume you-
alas.
Oh, so I assumed you would because you love fire.
I do, that's true. But alas, no, it's back in town.
I was going to ask you to light some candles for me.
Ah, that would have been very nice. There's a hole in your fence.
Put some. Yeah, that's no longer the fence. I expanded the fencing to go around the station.
Oh, nice. Ah,
Yeah, so a few of
Very
these have you know, personal adornments on them.
ah. I like that. Very nice.
Yeah. 15 smithy tables. If we don't get a shovel out of this, I'll be furious.
Why is there a mason stood facing the corner? Is he in timeout?
Maybe he's considering a career change.
Maybe.
There'll be the same on these 2 floors for armor smiths and weaponsmiths, but obviously I've
very
not
nice.
not put that in yet.
That's very good. What's your no entry? Roof maintenance only. I wonder who this signs for.
I mean, there's not really anything up here. You were, as I recall, you were talking about building your hospital as I made this building, and it reminded me of the the big roof spaces at the hospital we both worked at.
The thing, as soon as I came up here, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
So, your job well done. And I was actually going to mention that very thing.
Yeah.
I was going to be like, this reminds me of.
Hmm.
You could have a den up here, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Secret place you can hang out. Very nice.
Yeah. I'm gonna put some. I figured I'd expand the fence around the station, and then I'm gonna build a little bit of housing that way, so we can get some people to crew this place.
Very nice. You need another 45 villages.
Yeah.
Easily doable. You got the. Ah, you got a reception.
Yeah. Turning East Market into an industrial sector.
Very
The
nice.
Masons and now the Smiths.
Any other bands? Just the Smiths.
Yeah, the Who?
Yeah, Fench goes quite a way, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I started out thinking I'm not sure how much space I'm going to need for houses, and then I went on thinking let's just make this huge with lots of room to expand.
Makes sense.
I wonder. I wonder if it would save time in the long run to take this shovel and get it enchanted.
And yeah, probably.
Yeah. I might go do that.
If only we had a place where you could go and enchant things with all the resources you needed to enchant them.
But then you'd have to get there via some sort of convenient transportation mechanism.
True. If only you could do such a thing. I will say, by the way, just a quick aside to the previous thing. The new avatar model looks awesome. And it comes with a choice of heads
Yeah?
and weapons. I mean, they're all the Wailing Doom, but like, what form the Wailing Doom takes is a spear, a sword, or an axe now, which is pretty sweet. The spear
I think that's always been canon. There just wasn't models to represent it.
exactly, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Like
always the thing that each avatar it takes a different form depending on the thing. Is that it?
Oh, maybe.
Or
Like
maybe it's
depending
just-
on the craft world, or
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I just feel like I've seen pictures and lore descriptions of the avatar with a spear. That's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
familiar in my head.
There's definitely been like pictures of it and stuff. And I'm trying to think if there's like a specific law. Like, is it that certain craft world's avatar takes a different form, or is it that it just manifests in different ways at different times?
Is it
Or
just
it
a
just
favored?
changes shape.
Yeah, maybe it changes shape mid-fight as he needs different weapons, or maybe it's the whatever the favored weapon of the young king is.
Oh yeah, I mean. But yeah, you got model representing it now. 'Cause, like, the basic model seems to be the same. You know, the raised left hand dripping blood.
The bloody-handed god.
Exactly. When they did the path of the teaser, nice. Which had little, everyone knew like what the blood-soaked hand was. Like there's a new avatar coming.
Yeah.
And when they saw the shuriken cannon that looked like it's covered in bones, everyone's like, it's Morgan Ra, the Phoenix Lord of the Dire Reapers.
Yeah.
Because who else has got a shuriken cannon covered in bones? I need to think what I need in a minute. But yeah, so that's very cool. And you get choice of head. You get the classic Avatar head, you know, with like the big kind of wing things on the head that make the symbol of king.
Mm-hmm.
You get one with a more like a Dire Avengers style helmet with like a front to back kind of crest. Looks a little bit Greek.
Yeah.
And this is perhaps the biggest one of all. I'm gonna need more bamboo, aren't I? I can't do what I'm planning to do. A bear head.
Yeah.
All this time I thought that was the Avatar's head, and apparently it was wearing a helmet.
Huh.
Which is
is
news to me.
Yeah. This is a shocking revelation.
Yeah. Or maybe it's not actually a helmet, but kind of resembles a helmet, and in this case, has no such resembling a helmet bit.
Yeah.
But it kind of looks a bit like an Eldar, but you know, red, horrifying, and somewhat monstrous.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
New warlocks too, plastic warlocks.
Yeah.
Choice of that weapon that I can't remember, or the singing spear.
Hmm.
What's the sword called? I can't remember. It's like a choice of two
Is
weapons.
it?
And I wrote one.
Yeah, is it like a Wraith Blade or something?
Yeah, I would say Wraithblade as well.
Hmm.
But my instinct was Wraithblade. I'm like, nah, surely not.
Yeah, because I think it's got a soul stone set into it.
Ah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it certainly would make sense that it was called Wraithblade, I should add. Because, you know, Eldar.
Mm-hmm.
That would make perfect sense. But yeah, you got the Wailing Doom. The Wailing Doom, the Singing Spear as well, which is, you know, everyone likes.
Yeah.
And which is the Singing Spear, it's posed with like holding the spear behind them. And they have a choice of two right hands, like a pistol or a hand like held out like that.
I was gonna say, as soon as he said the spear held behind them, I was like, I know where the other hand needs to be.
Yeah, got to be right.
Yeah.
It's just so cool. Like I don't play Eldar, or haven't for a long time, and it still kind of makes me want to get that kit just for that model doing that pose. Well, that's so cool. Some people said it's a bit anime. But even, you know, whether it is or not, I don't care. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Not really matters if it's anime or not. But I just think that's really cool.
Yeah.
New Autarch, which is the choice of being a man or a woman. Depending on which torso you choose, because they're obviously wearing a helmet. Because Eldar.
Yeah.
Although a lot of the Eldar kits come with helmetless heads now.
Yeah.
And the helmetless heads no longer look hideous like the old 90s ones. That's a plus. Although some people complained about the warlocks not being pretty enough. Who cares?
Yeah. Aliens.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what someone in the Twitter comments said. That they look like humanoid aliens. What's the problem? Yeah.
Yeah.
They should look. I mean, in lore, the Eldorado is described as being sort of beautiful and sort of unsettling at the same time, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like you find them pretty, but at the same time you're sort of unnerved because they look a bit off.
Yeah. Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, and you know that's fine. I like that.
Yeah.
I think they do that well with the Elder Scrolls. The elves in that, like your typical pretty elves.
Yeah.
They do a bit more in Elder Scrolls Online, but I think that's in part because like you've got lots of people playing them, and maybe you want your character to look good or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's gonna be a thing, isn't it?
Where the heck is Brian Hart today?
No, actually, and I hadn't seen him.
I saw him before I popped round to East Market this last time. I bought some glass off of him. It was earlier tonight. Need to check if he makes if I can get a spellbook of productivity 4.
That would be sweet. I'm not sure that he sells productivity 4, though.
Yeah, one of the efficiency spells.
Yeah. I'm honestly not sure. I know he sells Merlin's Repair.
He sells Merlin's Repair, Unbreaking, and I can't remember what the other one was. I think it's an efficiency.
3, I think. Now you said that.
Pardon?
3, I think, now you said that. I'm fairly sure I remember saying efficacy 3 recently when I was buying stuff off him.
So yeah, well, putting that on my diamond shovel would save me a lot of time. Although, like, I thought coming over here and getting that enchantment would, like, shorten the time of flattening out that area. With each moment that he doesn't show up and do his job, I'm thinking less so.
People these days don't want to work, do they?
No.
And I got that hard-working spirit that we always... There we go. Have harvested all the bamboo. There's got to be a more efficient way of doing this. But I don't know what it is. I keep feeling like there's something we could do with, like, water.
Yeah.
Water and hoppers. What it is, I'm yet to fathom.
I mean, if we surrounded each bamboo stalk with hoppers, then a lot of the ones that fall would go into the hoppers. And that could be directed somewhere. I don't think it'd be ideal though, because some would just fall on the ground where the stalks.
I always think about, could you like put like channels of water? You know, with the gap between the stalks. Like channels of water there that would sluice it to hoppers, and then you just have to walk down the stalks yourself. I feel like that's the thing you could do.
Yeah, that would make sense. I thought you'd tried to do that and had some trouble with it. I don't remember.
Yeah, I tried it early on and it didn't quite work as planned, and I just kind of get it up as a bad job.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe if we applied ourselves somehow, I could probably come up with a solution between us, as we think. Not that it's in any way urgent.
Loyalty? What the heck does that go on?
Sorry, what?
I was just checking out the enchanting table. I can get an efficacy 4 book, but
Oh, nice.
that requires me to be level 30, which I am not.
Ah, I'm only 22, otherwise I'd gladly got that for you.
Yeah. But one of the enchantments is Loyalty 1. I'm wondering what the heck do you put that on?
No. I don't even know who you are. I don't even know who you are. Yeah, I honestly don't know what you put loyalty on.
Yeah. Well, what it would do.
It's not like anything's going to break and flee that works for us, is it?
Yeah.
My men fear the beast. Well, that's not around, is it?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess you could put it on like horse armor or something, but I'm not really sure what it would accomplish.
Yeah. That's good. I almost feel like we need it to experiment.
Yeah, for science.
Exactly. I've got a book of Archer's Keenness 1 and Piercing 2 if someone wanted to slap them on a bow instead of...
I mean,
I'd
I'd love...
Keenness 3.
Yeah.
Get from... Where's it?
I wouldn't mind seeing if I could get those on a bow.
Or them. Yeah, well, we got the books here. If you should.
Okay.
Ugh.
Do you want to take one of these books and see if you can get? I don't know whether it gives different spells for each of us, but you could go see if you can get loyalty.
Yeah,
I don't
I'll
quite.
just
Yeah, I don't
slap
quite
these
have
cooking.
enough for it.
I'll slap these cooking and then I'll go see what I can find.
Mhm.
I'm cooking stone today. I hope you're hungry.
Right, I don't know which ones are what. Soul? No, it's not going to be soul speed, is it? You put them in the enchanting chest.
Yes, that's right.
Piercing?
Pearson is a Pearson same for both of us.
Maybe. I'm trying to work out what Archer's keenness is, unless that's power. Or punch? No, punch would be some sort of knockback thing, surely.
The translation issue. Piercing, Bearer of Pendragon, and Bearer of Pendragon 2. A Bearing of Pendragon, sorry. The ones that I can get. I don't know what any of those are. Fire resistance?
Okay. Yeah,
I don't-
sounds like those are different to what I was getting. Oops.
Let me come and look at the books and I'll tell you which one in position is Archer's keenness and then we can solve this issue.
Okay. Having a look. Doesn't look like I can squeeze any more of these on my bow anyway. Or rather, I can put power 1 on my bow, but it doesn't actually raise the current power level.
Robin Hood's Perforce is one that's left behind.
That would
The
be
one on its own, the middle one.
that would be punch.
Okay.
Okay, so new row, piercing 1, piercing 2, and power 1.
Archer's keenness 1
Ah.
alongside the 2 piercings. Nighttime.
Okay, so I have Archer's keenness 2, and a single Archer's keenness 1 is not enough to upgrade that.
Neuralon says ZZZ.
Oop. Okay, so I'm not sleeping there.
It's weird how you can go ages with no villagers sleeping in here, and then they'll do it every night.
Yeah.
You know, I downloaded the other day, by the way.
Hmm?
The then latest version of Dwarf Fortress.
Ah.
I thought it was time.
Yeah, I'm hoping to start that community fortress soon. It's been very short on time lately.
Yes, and I will be soon. Very short on
It-
time, I think.
Yeah.
I have much work to do.
Uh,
Smooth stone. I've got learning to do.
oh? You got some big training coming up?
Yeah. So, on the 15th, at 9 o'clock in the morning, I have a mock exam
Oh.
to determine where I'm at. Because I've been clinical coding for 3 years.
Yeah.
3 of your English years. And the thinking that place is that once you've been doing it for 3 years, you're supposed to look toward doing the ACC, the Accredited Clinical Coder exam. So it's to see where me and the fellow who started at the same time as me, see where we're at and see, and see how we feel about it as well. Like if we're, if we could do it and they're like, yeah, this is fine, but we were like, nah, then they're not going to force us or anything, which is quite good. And if one of us wants to do it and the other one doesn't, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if we do alright, and if you know, we want to, we can look towards being entered for the ACC exam. So I need to first do some revision and stuff for the theory, for the mock exam.
Yeah.
Bye bye. And then I need, if you know, we are gonna go for the ACC, I'll need to be doing muchos work in my own time to get ready for that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I'll be able to spare a couple of hours a week for, you know, go for just
that's-
that we see if I go.
Yeah. Very good.
Juggle some stuff around. But yeah, so that's something I've got coming up.
Yeah. That's cool.
Thank you. You need to get 60% right to pass the theory and 90% right to pass the practical. Which is high.
Yeah.
So, got a lot of work to do when it comes to it.
Oh!
Oh?
He's in the train tunnels.
Who
I
is?
don't know how. Brian Hart. I just found him here.
That's-
He's directly under his house, I think.
That's entirely impossible.
Then my senses doth deceive me.
What's he doing down here and how did he get here?
I don't know. How are we going to get him out is also a question. Let's go open some gates and see if he'll start pathing.
That shouldn't be possible. Now, these tunnels
Okay.
are supposed to be village approved. I mean, I'll get a boat in case we need to like
Yeah.
get him at least as far as the steps. Or something.
Yeah, that's yeah. With a boat, we should at least be able to get him to the station. In fact, yeah. Sorry, I've opened the gate thinking he might pass down here, but he won't because he can't pass. Villagers can't pass the living iron.
No.
Like he's actually trapped there between the sections of railway.
I'll let you take over because you've got experience in this.
Come on, buddy. When you got?
No, not having it.
He doesn't seem keen.
Look, he just walked over the boat.
This is
Shame we can't-
unprecedented. This is unprecedented behavior, I
Yeah.
have to say. A villager next to a boat and they don't get in. It just doesn't happen.
It doesn't, does it?
Is the rail stopping him from getting on the boat somehow? We might have to clear a little bit of a space.
Yeah. He's in.
Oh, great. So it was the rails, that proves it. Even though he was
Yes.
nowhere near the rails that I started to take up. Okay.
Let me open these
Well.
gates.
Okay, land on the rails, please. And
Oh,
yep, there we go. He's up.
That's it. Come on.
Go on, buddy.
No. Come up here. Come on. Don't. Oh no, he's not having it. No, Brian Hart, no. Don't go that way.
No. Okay. It's
Why you no? Go back home. Wee. Just make sure no one else has come down.
yeah.
So whenever the
idea.
gates are, I mean, I know we jump over the gates. How are you doing that? Wee. So could he have jumped the gates somehow? I don't think they could. Up.
Okay. mean, you can't jump a gate without like something higher to get off of, right?
That's what I'm wondering if he's come down the stairs. Somehow hopped the gate that way. I will move the gates back a little bit in case that's what happened. Like, it's mildly inconvenient to us because we do just jump over them all out.
Yeah.
Oh, he's up here. Is he? Oh. He's gone in the waiting room. We need quick to block this off here so he can't. Quick. That's it.
No, he stood on it. How?
He's gone
No.
past. Alright.
Where are you going? You can't go that way. No, he just... I don't know if... He just stepped on it. Yeah, it doesn't... They must have changed villager behavior. It doesn't look like living iron stops them anymore.
Huh. This is back on the platform.
Well, I guess that explains a lot.
Now I just need him to go
Okay.
up. All in off with the tray. I guess you could just do one layer, like chest high.
Oh yeah, that's good. Get back here! No!
Mind you, if he goes all the way to the main station, does that help us any?
I mean, it's... One station's as good as another.
See what he's up to. No, he's just trying to get back to the underside of his house, I think.
Yeah.
But you have the other way of doing this, of course.
You want to dig a path straight up here?
Yeah. I mean, it's a thing that we could do.
See a ballet dancer. we all have our dreams, Lady Mio. He's... I think we can probably... Okay. I'm gonna try and pen him in.
Yeah, I found
So I
some
don't-
iron, so this is not a total
No.
loss.
Yeah. Okay, I've got him penned in the station. Please stop. Just keep spinning.
You can hear villagers,
Hmm.
so we're very close. But where exactly will come out, I don't know. We just need to get him to come down here. But now he's moved again, so...
Up. I've
Um,
sort of
nearly-
got him.
You can get him this far, maybe he'll come up to the surface.
Well, I've got him to the stairs.
Oh no, there's another villager, come in! Padre, no, get out of here.
Of course it's Padre, that makes sense.
How'd you go? Where have we
Okay.
come out?
Reinhardt's out.
He's out, where's he come out?
I got him back to the station by, like, walling it off behind him every time he took a step, and then once he got on the platform, I managed to get him into a boat.
Oh sweet, I just need to get Padre out now.
Uh,
No, don't fall down the hole, man. Why would you go down the hole? Why are they so obsessed with my secret forbidden closet of mystery?
This game is bananas.
Hey, Lewis. I'm walling it back up as I come out.
Okay,
If we're all
you managed
clear
to,
now.
you managed to drive him back up.
I did. It's pretty crackers, but yeah, well done on getting him out.
Yeah.
What a bizarre sudden turn.
Yeah. Was It was unusual. Also, turns out he doesn't have the thing I was looking for. The other book he has is protection.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to save up XP to get an efficiency spell at some point. Built a boat in the station and rode it over the ground. Heck yeah, that's what you do with boats. That's it. Are you not familiar with boats, Lady Meow? You put them on the ground. Somebody eagerly leaps in.
Sure.
And then you row them around on the ground. That's boats. Come on, buddy. Here we go. Let's take you home. What we really need is a way to make gentle slopes that you can boat up.
Yeah. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
2 men in a boat. Oh no. I understand why I was the only way to transport this guy around. Yeah. If a villager sees a boat, they will jump into it. And
Dogs too.
Yeah. You get them into close proximity to a boat, they'll hop inside, and then you can row them where you want them to go. I guess there's not really any other vehicle that works like that. I mean, the only other vehicle is minecarts, which aren't two-person, so it's not like you could row them anyway.
Sure.
As far as I know, they don't get into minecarts. I don't know that we've ever tested it.
No, that's true. I've never seen it, I don't think.
Yeah. But normally we keep them away from the the train stations.
That's true.
You know, in case they might decide to, travel from place to place.
As the Duke of Wellington said when he was expressing his opposition to railways, they would encourage the lower orders to move about. How much? Look at some more. Let me check on my stalls. So I'm gonna need stone and smooth stone and objects made of those materials.
Yeah.
Quite a chunk, but could do with more.
But yeah, Lady Meow, I've often thought that, like with animals, you can hold out a food that they like and they'll follow you. I've often thought that you ought to be able to just hold out emeralds and get a villager to follow you around. Whee!
That'd be great if you could. Like, it feels exploitative.
Yeah.
They just dangle some money in front of their face and they'll just follow you.
I mean, hey, that's life.
True.
That's how Jeff Bezos does it, and he owns everything that we hold dear.
That's true. Just own it. Apparently he's putting a lot of money into research into how to defeat aging.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No, that's not a terrible thing to be putting money in, but you can bet it's not for the likes of us.
Yeah.
It's just because he wants to live forever.
Much like, Elon Musk is putting a lot of money into colonizing Mars, but he's planning to take, indentured servants and live in a mansion there.
Company towns.
Yeah. I mean, there was talk recently of Amazon bringing country towns back, building living quarters into their big warehouses for families to live in, for their employees to live at. Yep.
I've forgotten they were planning to do that, but they are, aren't they?
Yeah. Isn't that modern slavery? Kinda.
Yeah, technically, you're free to leave whenever you want. You just lose absolutely everything if you do.
Hmm.
So technically, no, but in effect, yes.
Yeah. Hmm. The Grand Mason himself sells books of Riptide 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is that?
Don't know. I think it might be an enchant. I think it might be an enchantment for harpoons.
Just what we need.
Yeah. Do people not realize that? Generally, yes, but I think they're doing their best to make sure that you don't have a choice regardless.
Why do we have so many shears?
I think I was leveling up a toolsmith.
Ah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah. Did you know that one of the first European settlements in North America, well, the first English settlement in North America certainly, Jamestown, was built after the initial everybody died because nobody was growing food bit. It was founded on indentured labour.
Yeah.
And then when the indentured labourers were like, hey, can we have better working conditions? Slaves.
Yeah.
Indentured labourers brought over from, I think mostly like Germany and Poland, as well. Geographically speaking, those countries didn't quite exist in the modern forms, obviously. In the 1600s, 1607 or anything like that. But yeah, when the indentured servants were like, can we not? And then they were like, okay, we'll just import African slaves.
Yeah.
So yeah. I guess that's the next development if people in the company towns keep picking up.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're gonna. Once you're on Mars in indentured servitude, it's not like you're gonna be able to, go anywhere else if they decide to reduce your working conditions or like not pay you.
Exactly. It's Red Faction, the game.
Yeah.
Fun game, as I recall. I bet it's aged horribly.
Yeah.
But very fun.
Like-
Right. Oh, that was a good game.
Yeah, like you literally won't be able to, leave the workplace because there's not air out there.
Yeah.
You'll probably be paying air tax and such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine so. Well, you need to in order for us to pay for the air that you so greedily consume.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
And yeah, as in Red Faction, there's no way home without the company providing a rocket for you, and they've got no motivation to do that.
Exactly. And that's like, if we're saying about paying you, if they even decided to pay you in money at all,
Yeah, it's about.
pay you in company tokens.
I was about to say they'll well, not company tokens. It's Martian dollars, which are a valid and widely accepted currency in this particular dome city.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna be called Musk books, aren't they?
It wouldn't surprise me.
With just his face on it.
Yeah.
And then something he thinks is amusing on the other side as a motto.
Yep.
I did see an interesting post where someone said he's richer than Croesus. Oh, Musk. He's got like everything he could, dream of. But what he wants is to be a guy who's funny on Twitter. And he can't. Like, he's got everything that anyone could dream of, but the one thing he actually wants is forever beyond his grasp, because he's just lame.
Yeah.
Wow. That's funny. But yeah, if you get a chance to go to Mars as an indentured servant, don't do it.
Yeah. I feel like the main draw in going to Mars is to get away from people like that, so you know, I've kind of lost interest.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's, Don't go where it's just going to be even worse.
Yeah.
A grim topic.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should start discussing everyone's favourite series of films, which have no complaints, no criticisms.
Those were far worse. I'd accept Slavery on Mars over rewatching the Marvel films any day.
No, watching Captain America: The First Avenger does make me think, though. Wouldn't it have been kind of cool to have a film set during the Second World War with Captain America and the Howling Commandos doing war stuff?
Yeah.
Should we get like a montage of it? And it's cool. But then again, I guess, would you be able to keep it interesting? Could you just be doing like a war film, but one of them is a Superman?
Yeah.
So I can see why they didn't, even though that montage makes me go, kinda. There's a British paratrooper and a Frenchman. Like, what more do you want? He could smoke cigarettes and shoot in the face of danger.
It's weird to think that at the time, like real world, Captain America was doing that stuff. You know, not because it was his flashback history, but because that was contemporary.
Yeah. That is the funny thing, isn't it? That's how old the character is. Did Batman ever face the Nazis? Surely he did. Or was it more of a case of his parents were rich, so, you know, I'm not saying he's got a point. I'm just...
Yeah.
Like Ford and so many others.
I can definitely recall advertisements in some of the early Batman comics showing him like delivering weapons to soldiers on the front lines and then turning to the camera and saying, "And don't forget to buy war bonds."
I love that stuff.
Oh, you must have failed, says ZZZ.
I'm just outside Tyson's marker. Hold on a minute. I love that stuff because that's in Captain America: The First Avenger. That's what Captain America's doing, isn't it? Before he breaks away to do things on his own, he's flogging war bonds. Every bond you buy is a bullet and a gun firing it.
Yeah.
Also, I had.
Whoa. A lot of skeletons here. Oh heck.
Oh no! Where are you?
Oh, I am okay, I'm at Vault Zero because I picked up my bed right before taking an arrow to the face. I was at East Market. I'll come to train there. Oh, if you could head there, that would be good because there might be people in danger.
I'm at Tyson's marker.
Yeah.
But I have taken the train back. I have reversed my direction.
Vault Zero's not far from East Market by modern travel.
True. I'm heading back though. But yeah, after I watched Captain America last Saturday, I had The Star Spangled Man stuck in my head for days. Which is the song that the Captain America singers, whatever they're called, sing before he comes on stage and flogs war bonds. And it's stuck in my head for days. Because you see it, the same bit of the song like 5 or 6 times in a row. Because it's just always the tail end of the song that you hear just before he comes on stage. And you see him at first being really awkward and like flubbing his lines and then doing it very confidently.
Yeah.
So it's just that last little bit. Star Spangled Man with a plan. Just stuck in my head. Because I don't know the rest of the words. I know this. I think the line before that is something Japan. It's the Star Spangled Man with a plan, right?
Yeah.
But what it is, Just look at me head.
Yeah, I didn't pause to put my armor on, which was a mistake. But there were two of them just pouring shots into this iron golem that couldn't reach them because of the safety fence.
No.
Yeah, so I had to engage immediately.
Save the iron golem.
Yeah.
Way further than you think.
Yeah, of course, once I engaged them, they swiveled on me and took me down pretty quickly because I didn't have my armor on.
Yeah.
They were surprisingly durable, and despite being on fire.
That is vexing.
Yeah, there were villagers nearby, so I hope they got out of there before anything happened.
Just the skeletons target villagers. I know zombies do, obviously, and then turn them into zombie villagers.
I don't know.
I am, to quote the Avenged Sevenfold song, so far away. I immediately caught the first train back.
Yeah.
In that, you know, I was already at the station, and I choose when the trains go. I do need to put maybe an overpass into Vault Zero, by the way, so that even though there's like zero harm and it's way quicker, that you can actually technically get to the Vault Zero without walking across the railway line.
Yeah.
What is this? The 1830s? On platforms, you just used to like stroll across to get to your train.
Okay, I'm here. There's no sign of skeletons, so they must have burned up after I died. Let's see, have I got all my stuff? Okay, yeah. I mean, I died horribly, but the situation is now in hand, so I'm sorry to have called you away.
That's alright. Do you need me for anything, or shall I return whence I came?
I think you're good.
I reverse course at the next station, get the train back.
Oh man, I lost a lot of XP there though. I'm even further away from that efficiency charm now.
Ah, of course, yeah. What do you need to get it?
Well, the level 4 one that was there, I needed 30. I've now got. I did have 13. I now have 6. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go put some torches in the general area where the skeletons spawned.
Good idea. Back I go. A relaxing time on the train, of course.
How Marvel turned stuffy mythology into the world's most interesting superhero.
That's America? Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, meme aside, but I'm not really sure how anyone could think that, you know, capitalism and American exceptionalism make, you know, a stuffy mythology regarding Iron Man, right? I don't...
Didn't read up how do you get stuffy from Norse myth. Yeah, I was also thinking that. Had a picture of comic book Thor. Comic book Thor threw a dwarf into a bonfire at a party.
That's mythology Thor as well.
Yeah.
For like seemingly no reason in the context of the original thing either. He just does it. Yeet.
Yeah, mythology Thor's a riot.
I like the one where he dresses up as a woman to get married to a giant. That one's fun. And there's the whole things of the giant being like, "Wow, you've got pretty psychotic eyes for a woman. You've got a bit of a beard, like quite a beard for a woman. You haven't eaten like several cows more than the average woman," and so forth. And just like doesn't twig the entire time that it's Thor.
Yeah.
Pretty fantastic. What time of day is it, by the way? Because I'm about to engage in the long stretch. And I don't want to get you caught out again.
Just gone midday.
Sweet. Yeah, Northmouth is absolutely not stuff. It is. Wild.
Yeah, thinking on like comic book time. I mean, DC's worse for it because Marvel made a half-hearted effort for a while to have time pass in the comics. But like, there's always been the thing with Batman that Batman trained the original Green Lantern, and nowadays the like the second Green Lantern being on TV is what inspired Batman to become a superhero.
Yeah. Not his parents getting murdered.
Yeah, well,
Both. Is it one of those things where
it's
he's
sort
upset
of
about his parents getting murdered and this gives him the focus?
it's why he became like a costumed crime fighter.
Rather than like a hitman
He's-
or something.
Yeah. It's why his means of dealing with his parents' murder was to become a superhero rather than any of the other options available to him, such as
Say therapy.
Yeah, or social programs to reduce crime.
Also a valid option. Or you could just beat up criminals and put them in prison.
Yeah. There is a comic where like Bruce Wayne and Batman get split into two people. I mean, of course there is.
Sure.
Yeah. And like, without being Batman, Bruce Wayne cannot deal with his guilt over his parents' death and ends up just going out with a baseball bat beating thugs to death.
Oh, sure.
Whereas, without the trauma of his parents' death, Batman decides to retire from crime fighting and just enjoy life. and Superman's like, we always knew that if we separated Batman and Bruce Wayne, you'd end up with a spoiled brat and a psychopath. We just didn't realize it would be this way round.
Oh, and Lady Meow notes, by the way, that Thor gets into a drinking game where the beverage is the ocean.
Yes.
It's just like, because Greek myth is for people basically enacting a horrific, well, I say people, the gods, enacting like horrific revenge plots against people for flimsy reasons.
Yeah.
Whereas Norse mythology is just shenanigans. Just start to finish shenanigans. That's all it is.
Greek mythology is watching the soaps. Norse mythology is watching The Simpsons.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And what does that make? Like Aztec mythology.
2 a.m. 2 a.m. Saturday morning horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The horror channel they do has. I'm not far. In an exposed position, because I'm nearly there at.
I'm hoping I'm not in an exposed position, but we'll see. Last time I woke up and got immediately filleted by skeleton archers.
It's less than ideal, I think we'd agree.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you got up.
But yeah, I might as well simplify this because it's gone 9 o'clock and I've
Oh,
got an
shit.
early start tomorrow.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've not got as early a start, but I do have an early start tomorrow too.
Hmm.
I've got an appointment at Specsavers about my ears because, you know,
Hmm.
of course I have.
You gotta make sure they're the right shape for the frames.
Hopefully it'll finally get my ears sorted. It's been a month that I've been having this trouble, so
Yeah.
hopefully it will be sorted now. But I'm probably going to stream for like another hour or so,
Okay.
and then might take a quick break actually.
Yeah.
And I shall continue thereafter. Like an hour maybe till half 10. I don't know. We'll see how I feel.
Hmm.
You know how it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been good.
It's been great to stream with you again.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Yeah, sadly I've got a full day tomorrow. So, I've done 6 days this week.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I think we were talking about the fatigue problems I was having. I feel like the fatigue status in my status bar has, faded. Maybe it's now at like 75% max stamina and stamina regen instead of 50%. But I'm doing so much stuff that my stamina hasn't actually gone back up. I think I'm getting some stat penalties from that. I've been feeling like I'm making a lot of stupid mistakes lately.
Yeah. That's understandable. So.
Yeah.
But
But
I managed to have a relaxing Sunday at least.
Yeah. We'll see what I can do. I did decide yesterday that I need a holiday, so I decided I'd go through my calendar, and the first week that I come across that I haven't got any shifts, I'm gonna mark off that week as being for holidays, and I won't accept any shifts for that.
Yeah, that's a good thinking. You need it.
Yeah. So that's gonna be in May.
Great month.
Yeah. That's where I've got my weeks filled up until. I've actually got shifts all the way into August now.
Really?
Yeah.
In demand.
Yeah. Like, I feel like a month ago I was joking about how the whole system's running off my back. Now I'm starting to actually feel it. I got like 5 emails today from different libraries saying, "Can you please come in? We've not got any staff. We're counting on you. Help us, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope."
Shit, right, demand.
Yeah.
Irreplaceable. This is why you start demanding better terms and conditions because they need you. Leverage that position.
Yeah, I thought I'd have to really fight for shifts, so I went all in on it, and turns out I didn't have to fight for shifts, but because I'd gone all in on it, I got tons of shifts. Yeah.
So it's because hoist by your own petard.
Yeah. I can't grumble really. It's a good job, but I'm ready for a few days off.
I don't blame you. On lunch and can finally watch. How's the crafting going? It's going all right, thank you, Endarian. I was just about to take a 5-minute break, so I've caught you at an ill time. I can hang around a little bit. If you watching me on your dinner, I appreciate that. But yeah, it's going all right, thank you. I've been doing above ground stuff, and now I'm gonna build some bridges. You've come back from when I'm back underground, of course.
That's the true draw here. I'm getting the impression, and Darian doesn't want to admit it, but maybe they're like a little agoraphobic. They're just here for the underground streams. The timing's suspicious, is all I'm saying.
I forgot a freaking crafting table as well, and I need one. Or do I?
Well, I mean, of course you took.
I don't need one. I've got the right thing.
Okay.
I've got the right tools.
So I was going to say, of course you took a stack of 64 logs because, that's the most compact way to transport wood, and there's so much stuff you can do with that if you need wood for any purpose. Crafting tables, for example, or, stairs or ladders. It's only sensible.
Well, true. That is very true. I brought only this mason's table. which is entirely sufficient for my purposes. I'll have you know. I've accepted my fate to live in the mines.
Yeah.
I promise I would do things that are above ground as well.
Anyway, that's gonna be it from me. So thanks everybody for being here. And, have a good night, everyone.
Night, Loomis.